Hi everybody, I suppose what I'm trying to do in this video is to talk about the art and the science of collecting, and to talk about how I assembled and enhanced my sweetmeat tray collection. Now, I had my first exhibition for the sweetmeat trays in 2017. So, how did I ever get off on this track in terms of collecting sweetmeat trays? Because it's not really a big part of Peranakan genre. There's not a lot of representation of it in there. I suppose it got me going when I had my first, bought my first set. In fact, I had to confess that before I bought my first set, I thought that, for example, these were pieces on their own, because it was very rare to see a whole set at any one time. So I used to think that they were like very cute side dishes for tidbits, nuts, pumpkin seed, or whatever. And I was very embarrassed when I first saw my first set and realized that I was giving out misleading information. So basically, this is probably one of my very first sets that got me very excited, because I actually don't think that this is as early as the mark says, but obviously I'd like to believe it is, but it says here that it's from the Yongzheng period. And it would be quite remarkable if they were doing colors like that in early 18th century, but you never know. Because those colors are the sort of colors that you would see in Peranakan porcelain in the 19th century. So what was unique about this set that really got me excited was that each of them are different colors on the outside. So, and they're all almost a pastel color. There's some blue, deep blues there, but the delicacy of them, and each of them had the color combinations there. Like, for example, this is quite a rare base color, which is the olive green. And, or in Hokkien, we call it the art sai chair. Anyway, this design as a sweetmeat tray, they were normally originally used for presenting for fruit after dinner. Now, we all know that having fruit after dinner is bad for you, but they didn't know that at the time. So, so anyway, they were, the interesting patterns was that the whole set reveals itself to become a lotus flower. Okay, so I was talking about the fact that the shapes all were derived from very much the lotus flower and the lotus pod. This shape is supposed to be the lotus pod, but I suppose when I look at it, it could be a cross-section of the lotus root as well, possibly. Whatever it is, this was the original, one of the earlier designs, which is the lotus pod. And these are all derivatives of the lotus pod design. So you can see how they've been how they have been simplified over time. But it's fascinating to see that this shape, and I've often been curious about where this shape is derived from, and suddenly had this epiphany that yes, of course, it's from here. The 9 sections are the same, and it's just a more geometric square derivative of the lotus pod design. So I was going to talk about some of these new patterns that I discovered since 5 years ago, and they are what I suppose is the Rubik's Cube of its time in the 19th century. Maybe this was earlier. I found these and I was fascinated by them because of the geometric patterns. I was told that this was how the elite and the nobles exercised their brain when they took it out and tried to put it back in record time. And that's another pastime I was told. And it's fascinating that it's not easy to put it back in the same configuration. I was told that you can actually put it back in several configurations, and it's taken me a long time. This is not typically Nonya, but I found that the symbol of the phoenix was very interesting, that this was found on this set, which is not Peranakan. I think this was sourced from the US, from one of the early migrants who moved over there in the 19th century. The other ways you add to the collection is when you find the same shapes, but in a different color. And yet, same period, mark and period with the handles here, and I think that it's always exciting when you can add to the collection that way. And also I found new genres that were so fascinating. For example, I had one of these before and different designs, but then along the way I found different sizes. These are 6 compartments. This is a 7 compartment. This is a 6 compartment as well, but it's a different size. And then you've got the 2 and the 3 compartments. So obviously, if something came up with a 4 compartments or 5 compartments, it would make the set very interesting for me. I mean, that's the joy of collecting. I mean, there's no joy in buying everything all at once. And a collection is a dynamic thing. I mean, I think for me, I would keep on collecting and improving the collection until the day I die, I think. So it means that, I plan to be in business still for the next 7-year round. So keep in touch and hope you have a good time collecting as well.